Hello, guys. Welcome back to MU Sports TV. This is where you get all the news concerning Manchester United football at large. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, guys, it was a derby day delight for the Red Devils as they played at home against Manchester City and they won 2-0 thanks to goals from Brian Mbeumo and uh, and other than Patrick Dogu. I was a little bit surprised by the result, and I think 80% of the fan base, I can say 90% of the fan base, was not expecting this kind of result after the dismissal of Ruben Amorim, then under unclear some circumstances, with some saying it was because of the power struggle, some saying because of the poor results that have been um, recorded, and most of the fans were not okay with this news because they thought Ruben Amorim was sacked because of the power struggle. Remember, Amorim, in his press conference, he said after the Leeds draw, he said he came become the manager of Manchester United, not the head coach, and he was the head coach. Being the head coach, it means there's some decisions you can make. And being the manager, you control everything when it comes to signing the players to be sold and everything concerning the management of the players. So Amorim, the outburst after that on Monday, he was sacked, and immediately Mike Darren Fletcher, the under 18 manager, replaced him. Two games against Burnley and Brighton. Against Burnley, I think it was a 2-all draw where United played quite well actually in the back four. They had chances, but still conceded some, I can say, cheap goals. I always say they always concede cheap goals, so that was still um, spotted. Against Brighton, I think it was uh, a difficult game, easy one but difficult because they made it difficult for themselves. Because if United were clinical enough, they could have won the game easily. Chances missed, the likes of Dalot missed chances, and Brighton capitalized on them on their chances and won at Old Trafford. They lost because they didn't finish those chances. You know, when sometimes you lose because you are poor, sometimes you lose because you lacked bravery in the game. But United, they lost against Brighton because they did not take their chances. They had the possession. They had the most XG against Brighton, but somehow still failed to win and were knocked out of the FA Cup. So guys, honestly, coming into this game, there were low expectation when it comes to United getting a point against the citizens at Old Trafford. This is what because of what the fans have experienced in the past few weeks regarding these players. We know how these players have been, what they have done to Ruben Amorim. So high percentage of fans were not expecting any point to come from this match at Old Trafford yesterday afternoon, and it came to my surprise after the lineup was released officially. And one thing I want to talk about is the leakage of the team news. You know, this has been a thing at Manchester United, whereby the team news is being leaked 1 hour before the game even starts, and all this and all that. And I think Ruben Amorim fought this. He really stopped this behavior of team news leaking before it's officially announced. He dealt with this issue, and yesterday the team news leaked 1 hour before the game. After Amorim left, the team news leaked 1 hour before the game, and I think Michael Carrick, apart from apart from getting the results, there are some things he also needs to deal with, and these off field issues he needs to tackle them quite well, and this being one of them. The team news leaking before the official release. They need to check who is leaking this team news, which player is responsible for leaking these team news before it is officially released. It was leaked, and somehow Samuel Lacoste always being the first one to publish it, and he says, "Oh, the team has been leaked." So, if the team has been leaked, you are a journalist. You've been given that. you are posting it, and then after that you're saying uh, team has been leaked. So Samuel Lakers, this is that is where I saw this team news first. So if there is a head start where the Michael Carrick's team need to start with, they should start with investigating Samuel. Where did he get that team news? And then he tells us, and then you can follow that tree until we get to the point and the main source, the person leaking the team news before it is officially released. Because sometimes it gives the opponents a head start. You know, you always want to find your opponent off guard. You expect they expect you to start this player, but you start this player, so it affects the team. So when the official team news was released, I was expecting a back four after Amorim was dismissed. Dan Fletcher in his two games as a caretaker manager, he brought back a back four, and we were expecting the same with Michael Carrick because Carrick's under Millis when he was a manager at Middlesbrough, he played like 8% of his games were back four. He played 4-2-3-1. He played 4-3-3. He played 4-4-2, and also he played 3-5-2. But 3-5-2, I think it's 2% or even 1% of the games he managed at Middlesbrough. His preferred formation has always been the 4-2-3-1 formation. So that is what we were expecting. And indeed, it is what we got because Carrick started the 4-2-3-1 formation against Manchester City. But there was some points or some arguments before the game because the lineup included the like of Patrick Dogu, Diego Dalot, Harry Maguire, Alessandro Martinez, Luke Shaw. All these are defenders. And the question was that is he playing a back three or what? But I knew that Patrick Dogu is going to play wide. He's going to play as a winger. That is as a left winger. You've seen play here against Brighton or Burnley. He did quite well. He played as a right wing against Newcastle, the last win of Ben Amorim, the 1-0 victory. He scored a goal actually in that game as well. So he did quite well there. So I think if Luke Shaw is capable of playing the left back position, I think we're going to see more of advanced role of to Patrick Dogu because he what he offers as a player is quite big, and you can't afford to have him on the bench while you can use him in the team. So Patrick Dogu started as a left winger, and there was some arguments. Why did he choose to start Dogu ahead of Matthias Cunha? And also, Brand Mbeumo started as a striker ahead of Benjamin Sheshko. And the argument also was, why did Mbeumo start ahead of Sheshko? Because Sheshko, the last two games, has scored 3 goals, 2 against Burnley and 1 against Brighton. That is 3 goals in 2 games under the caretaker manager, Darren Fletcher. He managed to score, I think, 2 goals in 17 games under Ruben Amorim. So I think the that back four system was really favoring Benjamin Shishko because the likes of Bruno Fernandes was playing up quite up front, and it gives Shishko the chance to score goals easily compared to a back three. So just analyzing the first team, the first 11 of Michael Carrick in goal was Senela Menz, who started in goal. Diego Dalot, although he was being heavily criticized after the Brighton defeat because I think, was involved in Brighton's goal. Also, he failed to score 2 goals. First 1v1, and also he failed to score a second goal. So Dalot, I think it's easy to say that Dalot should not be a starter. And Mazaraoui coming back next week, I think it will be insane to see Dalot starting and Mazaraoui on the bench. I watched Mazaraoui against Nigeria. He played a left back because of Akimi playing the right back. He did well as a left back, and imagine what he can do as right back, which is his natural position. So I'm not expecting Dalot to be starting ahead of Mazaraoui when he comes back next week. So Dalot started as a right back with Luke Shaw as a left back. Harry Maguire back in the first 11 alongside Lisandro Martinez in the back four of Dalot, Maguire, Lisandro Martinez, and Luke Shaw. Midfield two of Casemiro and Kobe Meno, who I think it was his first start of the season. Yeah, his first start of the season after not getting enough minutes under Ben Amorim. He was given his first start by Michael Carrick. Amad Diallo started as a right winger. Bruno Fernandes in his best position, number 10, Dogu and Bombo as a striker. So when you looked at this formation, you could maybe you could doubt Dallo, you could doubt the midfield, and you could doubt Matic Dogu. But I think Dogu did well. Uh, Casemiro did quite well. Kobe Menu was really outstanding. Luke Shaw did well. I think I want to commend Luke Shaw and Dallo. Even though Dallo had he didn't have a good game, Dallo, but he was average. I can say it was 4 out of 10. But I want to commend him for not getting a red card because after the yellow card incident where he appeared to kicked Doku's knee, it was checked by the VR and it was deemed the rider's decision by the on-field referee not to award a red card. So Dalot was given a yellow card early enough in the game, same as Luke Shaw, and somehow they managed to finish the game without a red card. Dalot played 90 minutes plus 5 without a red card. Luke Shaw played 90 minutes before being replaced by Eden Heaven without a red card. That was really. We know how rough it can be sometimes when it comes to these tackles. And Casemiro finishing the game without a yellow card was also interesting. But Rodri managed to get a yellow card for Manchester City. So I think Casemiro was man of the match. He was officially awarded man of the match by the Premier League after his outstanding performance in midfield against Manchester City. He did quite well alongside Kobe Menu in that midfield. And I think overall, all the players that started did quite well. In the first half, they had chances actually. Amadelo scored, it was offside. Bruno Fernandes scored, it was offside. Bruno Bomo had chances in the first half. Somehow he didn't take them. Dogu had a chance saved by Donnarumma in the first half. So I think in the first half it was all Manchester United. City were nowhere to be seen. It was all about possession. City they possess the ball, but they are doing nothing with it. In football, it's about the goals, not the position. The position. You have the ball, but you don't know what to do with the ball. That's the problem of Manchester City. So in the first half, it was all Manchester United with an XG of 0.39, with while City an XG of 0.23. First half, shots on target, City had 1, while Manchester United had 2. The position was that of City's 22-28, and it was all City in that position, but they did nothing with that ball. In the second half, it was quite different. United coming like a different team. They had an XG of 1.64 compared to City's 0.22. And shot on target, United had 5 in the second half, while City had 0. 0 shots on target in the second half against Manchester United. When you have Haaland, you have Check, you have Semenyo and Dogu up front. Yeah, so I think Guardiola was furious after the game. He was asked about the Dalot incident, and he said, "Come on, that can be the reason why City failed to win. You know, after you have these players up front, you have Haaland, you have Doku on the right, left, you have Semenyo on the left, you have a Check, you have Bernardo Silva, but somehow you managed to record 0 shot on target against a defense of Lisandro Martinez and Harry Maguire. That was ridiculous, and I think Guardiola was being honest, and I didn't want to blame anyone because the game play against 11 men, not 10 men. So you can't tell me they lost because Dalot was not sent off. That was not the plan. The plan was to come here and play and win. They played, didn't win because they lacked the instinct. They were not clinical enough in front of goal. So overall, United had an XG of 0. Or rather, they had an XG of 2.03, while City had an XG of 0.45. This has been the biggest XG Manchester City have suffered in the Premier League. I think under Pep Guardiola suffered an XG of 2.03, the biggest they've suffered under Guardiola in the Premier League. So this tells you why the game was all United. In fact, United had 7 shots on target, while City had one, and it could have been an embarrassing result if not for the offside and Naruma in the post. Because United had chances. In fact, they scored 2 goals. That is, 3 goals were called for offside. The Ahmad Diallo was offside quite big. Bruno Fernandes was a bit tight. And the Mason Mount goal ruled out for offside. I think it was unfortunate, but it was ruled out offside. United had 2 shots striking the post. So it could have been thrashing, embarrassing result for Guardiola, but luckily it wasn't. It was just 2-0 as it finished at Old Trafford. So the result meant that Manchester City remained second with 43 points just for today because Aston Villa are playing today on Sunday. If they win the game, they'll be on 46 points. That means they'll be ahead of Manchester City with 3 points and just 4 points below the league leaders Arsenal, who had failed to capitalize on City's loss to United. They drew to 0-0 with Nottingham Forest at the City ground. So somehow, the City fans they believe still are a chance of winning the league because Arsenal failing to win against Forest uh, give them a bit of a glimpse of we still have hope of winning the league. Had Arsenal won against Forest yesterday, that could have been 9 points. Yeah, 9 points could have been 9 points a lead, and that could have been frustrating for the citizens. But luckily enough, Arsenal failed to score. They're playing Manchester United next, and City could be hoping United could do the same at, uh, at the Emirates Stadium next week. United are fifth now from eighth last game. They're now fifth with that 35 points having played 22 games. They are just 1 point behind the fourth place Liverpool on 36 points, and they are a point above Chelsea or have 34 points. So next game will be crucial. So I think it was a tactical masterclass from Michael Carrick because the way he approached the game was different. Nobody could have predicted this first 11 uh, that Carrick went with against Manchester City. Normally, you could see Cunha, you could see Vomo, you could see Ahmad, Bruno Fernandes, Sesko all starting. But yesterday it was different because if you looked at the bench, uh, it had a bandit, it had Mason Mount, it had Matthias Cunha, Malasia, Yoro, Hitton, Gate, Sheshko, and Jack Fletcher. So you had options on the bench. If you feel like now I want to make a change, you can look at Matthias Cunha, you look at Mason Mount, you look at Sheshko, Gate. So there were options on the bench, and that I think that is what Carrick wanted because after going 1-0 up, I think he made a change whereby he brought on Matheus Cunha to Brian Bomo. Matheus Cunha only needed 5 minutes to assist Patrick Dogu in second goal for Manchester United. So a bit of improvement in terms also of substitution. We saw only a defensive substitution once. It came in the 90th minute where Luke Shaw was replaced by Eden Heaven. But it was Matheus Cunha replacing Bomo, like for like substitution. We saw Ugarte replacing Casemiro, a like for like substitution. Casemiro was tired and he needed to be replaced, so that was a no-brainer. Also, Mason Mount replacing Bruno Fernandes and almost scored the goal, only to be ruled out. Very unlucky by the VAR for offside. So the substitution were also top notch, and I think that could be a great start for Michael Carrick at his second stint as Manchester United manager. Remember, it's his first stint. He managed 3 games. He won against Arsenal, won against Villarreal, drew against Chelsea. That was his first stint as a caretaker manager. Now he's back as an interim manager. for 6 months. And luckily for him, he's hoping that this will be the start of his tenure as Manchester United manager. Thanks for watching.